Tell me what you would do in this situation.
And you ain't black.
What's going on? What is happening? We are back. We are back in full effect. Happy hump day, everyone. Per usual, be the first one in the chat and you will get a shout out. Be the first one in the chat and you will get a shout out. Happy hump day, everyone. I don't know about you, but I think this week is going by pretty fast. I mean, just the other day, I was on here talking about how miserable my Monday was. Oh, well, not really necessarily miserable. It was a tough Monday. I'm sure we all have had that. Hello, Kazi. See, be the first one in the chat, and I will give you a shout out. And don't forget to mention where you are calling from, because I'm telling you tonight is going to be it's going to be very informative. And I definitely think this is information that needs to be distributed to the masses. Okay. What's happening, Dalton? Hello, Deborah. Hello, Carol. What's happening? Shelly's in the house. Cool. Oh, man. All right, guys. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Come on. I give a little bit more. Give you guys a little bit more to come on into the room. Hey, Barbara. How you doing? Emily, what's happening? All right. We got Annette in the house. Steve. All right. Come on, guys. Come on in. Yeah, because listen, I've done my due diligence tonight. It's going to be a heavy topic again, you know. But I definitely think it's important that we put this information out. Now, granted, well, thank you. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. Now, granted, this may, you know, depending on how much we divulge tonight, this content may be suppressed. I mean, that's just the truth, guys. I have to accept that I'm going out on a limb. I'm taking a risk, putting this content out here. You know, this subject matter is subject to censorship. So I just want to let you guys know that. That's just how it goes. All right. Corrine, I hope I said your name right. Cool. We got Linda. Hello, Linda. We got Kelly. You know what? I love you guys. You guys are loyal. I appreciate it. Yes, you got to click the bell. That's correct. Click the notification bell, share the video, and by all stretch of imaginations here, all right? We got to hit that like button, all right? Because that is important. By all measure, all right? Hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and make sure you are subscribed, okay? Because I'm putting out some pretty we're putting out some very informative material, all right? And I don't want you guys to miss this information, especially when we're going live, because like I said, the things we delve into, I mean, you know, not all the content that I go over, but some of the topics, they're little let's just say they're not really up for discussion in the public forum. Okay. Hey, Oscar. All right, Tarika, what's happening? Okay, we got Oscar calling out of Montreal, Canada. All right, hey, Oscar, stick around. This is going to be pertinent to you because, okay, guys, I'm just going to go into it. So, you guys saw this. You guys saw the thumbnail, right? Let me know if you saw the thumbnail because, man, basically, I need you guys to close your eyes. If you're parents out there, you know. Parents, or even if you're not parents, I need you to close your eyes and imagine. Yeah, this guy got threatened with jail. Yeah, I know, Christina. I'm telling you, close your eyes and imagine your father or mother, and the government at the beck and whim can come in, force your child out of your home, you know, and you are completely helpless. All right, because you refuse to call your daughter you refuse to refer to your daughter as a boy, or vice versa. Imagine the government having the power to extricate your children from out of the home because you refuse to buy into this delusion. Guys, it's coming to the forefront, and we have to build an army. God knows they have an army already. All right. Evil moves in packs. Okay. All right. The devil has a collective, and we have to stand firm. We have to move as a collective. Now, I get it. We all have our disagreements. We all have our perspectives. We all have our political, affiliations. But I'm not talking about that. We all can agree that children are innocent. Okay? They are the innocent among us, and we must protect them at all costs. All right. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to read the article. I got a few videos we're going to react to. And then I got some more information, particularly the one of Joe Biden's executive orders that's pushing this whole agenda. Okay. Yeah, you heard it. Joe Biden, and you guys, some of you guys are already aware of this. Joe Biden, is doing at this very second, ensconce is getting this is having this legislation, this ridiculous woke ideology ensconced in law. All right. It's going to be enshrined in law, and we can't do anything about it, as you will see here in this video. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to read the article. Forgive me if I'm not as interactive as I typically am in reading the chats, but like I said, I'm going to be reading this article, guys, and I need you guys to follow along. All right. Okay, here we go. So in this tragic case, a man in Canada was jailed for referring to his biological female as daughter. Oops, I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. Let me go ahead and share this. Forgive me. Where are my manners? All right, window, Chrome tabs. There we go. All right. Oops. Okay, cool. Looks like I got my friend. Yeah, I was gonna have a guest here tonight join me. My friend Jessica, guys. Give Jessica a warm welcome. And she's gonna be kind of co-piloting this thing with me tonight. I mean, trust me, Jess and we've been talking about these things for eons now. I mean, we saw this coming on the horizon way before it started hitting, the public school, before it started hitting our Congress. We saw it. We saw it already happening. All right, so let me add her here.
Hey.
Yes.
Neil.
Hello. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Like, pardon me, I just got off work, so I didn't have any time to kind of get spiffy, and the lighting in my room sucks. So sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine, Jess. I was just about to read this article here.
Yeah.
I guess you can kind of follow along here.
Okay.
Just basically like kind of what we discussed prior about what's going on and with regards to this father who had his children taken from him, and he was jailed for it because he refused to call his daughter a boy, refer to his daughter as a boy. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. Give me 1 second here.
Sure.
Uh-oh. My internet is starting to. All right, here we go. Oh, by the way, the comments are, the chat is saying hi to you.
Oh, hey everybody. Sorry, I'm using my phone, so I can't see too well, but okay. That's a little bit better.
No worries. No worries.
Oh man, I'm so ready to talk about this.
Oh no, I know, Jess. I know. That's why I had to get you on here, because I know, like, if anybody who's passionate about this, it would be Jess. All right, so let me go ahead and get started.
Okay.
All right, guys. So in this tragic case, a man in Canada was jailed for referring to his biological female child as daughter. Robert Hoogland, a father of a teenage girl, has been jailed by a Canadian court for calling his biological female child his daughter and referring to her with the pronouns she and her. Hoogland was found to be in contempt of court. Hold up. Okay. At the heart of Hoogland's miseries is a gender non-conforming 14-year-old biological female who identifies as transgender and prefers the use of male pronouns. Hoogland repeatedly called the person that is as his daughter the person, even after court prescribed him from doing so. As a result, the Attorney General of British Columbia issued an arrest warrant for contempt, following which Hoogland surrendered himself to the court on Tuesday at 10 a.m. He was arrested and taken to jail. In December 2020, Hoogland was forced by a collude to conform to his daughter's gender transitioning, and told him to not call his biological female his daughter. In response, Hoogland made a charter challenge engaging his right to freedom of speech. Father accuses his daughter's school for encouraging her to identify herself as a male. See, I'm telling you, see, these schools, they're indoctrination camps.
Yeah.
In his defense, Hoogland claimed that he started noticing differences in the behavior of his daughter when she was in the 6th grade and had increasingly began to behave more like a tomboy. The girl was spending most of her time with the boys boys her age and was constantly landing herself in trouble. When she came in grade 7, he noticed she cut off her long hair and started wearing a toupee. He said that she developed intense crushes on 2 male teachers and made a suicide attempt. Hoogland even consulted with the school faculties in hopes of improving some of the bad behaviors. According to Hoogland, his daughter started referring to herself as a male after watching a pro-gender film, quote, Handsome and Majestic. What is that, Jess? Is that like a anime? Animation?
I don't know. That's
it's probably like some kids movie or something.
Probably something they shouldn't be watching.
Yeah, exactly. So Handsome and Majestic at the school. Hoogland was aghast when his daughter accosted him and told him that she would like to enroll in the 7th grade under a male name rather than her own. Hoogland was indignant of the school officials for backing his daughter's demands and what to him seemed like a falsehood. He expressed his displeasure with the police, but to no avail. All right. To his dismay, Hoogland later discovered that it was the school that started to pressure the girl to change her gender. The school counselor with whom he had met and raised his concerns about his daughter had actually made the change in the yearbook. Oh, gosh.
Wow.
And encouraged the girl to embrace a male identity. According to the British Columbia Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity Regulation, the child's parents were not informed of the changes. The school went a step further by referring to her with a male name and allowing her to use the male-only bathrooms. In fact, Hoogland accused the school of socially transitioning the biologically female child on its own initiative with the input of a gender ideologue psychologist, Dr. Wallace Wong. Wow. All right, let me close this out. All right, what's your initial thoughts about that, Jess?
Oh my God, there's so much wrong with this. Like, there's so much wrong with this. Like,
I know.
What gets me, that I'm seeing a lot with these schools, and I don't understand, but I don't agree with either way, is that like they're taking away parents' ability to parent their own children.
Yeah.
And like, it's none of the school's business. Like, we send our kids to school to learn math, English, science, social studies, all these things. It's not their responsibility to be socially indoctrinating these kids. Like, we all know, like, especially now as adults, how impressionable we are as kids.
Very much so.
You've known me for a long time. I have been a tomboy my entire life. Dude, I used to run around with a gang of boys in the neighborhood. Right. I played with you know what I mean?
I'm telling you, look, if I was to affirm, if society would have affirmed whatever I identified at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, I'd probably be a superhero or Batman or something, because that's what a dump truck or a dump truck or anything, anything, right? Because kids have wild imaginations.
Yeah, and you're always changing. You know, like at that age, like, I mean, even I'm a top man. You know, I'm 37 and I'm still a tomboy. But
Right.
that doesn't mean I have to chop myself up and change my
Oh,
entire identity.
gosh.
Yeah, that's another topic we're gonna have to get on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
We're gonna.
already know what I'm talking about.
You.
Yeah. Um,
You know. I know,
but
Jess.
it's not fair. Like I feel like they're putting. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on these kids to be this way now. Like it's not. And you know, like I'm not gonna like be a bigot and say you can't do what you want to do. Like everybody can do
Mm-hmm.
whatever the hell they want to do. That's fine. But how about we just leave the kids alone?
Let's just
You
leave the
know,
kids
like
out of it, right?
can we just leave them alone? Can we just let them be kids? Let them go play. Let them go get in trouble. Like let them go scrape their knees and let them go do all this stuff. Like they
Exactly.
shouldn't be. These kids are so walking around. All of them. They're so freaking
Right.
stressed out because of all this social pressure and all this. What are
Mm-hmm.
your pronouns and what are
Right.
you and what is your other name and what it. You know what I mean? Like it's too much pressure. I don't think I could even handle like being in their shoes
And just to think
at
that
their
these
age.
kids are basically they're giving their own consent to makes a very significant change to their body
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
can have a lasting impact. And you know, I don't know what I don't you may know, but I don't know the rates of desistance are of you know people who once they've kind of grown out of
Oh,
the
oh yeah. It's kind of it's hard to say because that number is growing every day
right.
with people saying, "Dang, I wish people wouldn't have been so quick to push me to do this and just
Yeah.
like, let me think about it for a while." Like I was watching
Yep.
something a couple of weeks ago, and it was a really gut wrenching. I'll have to send you a link for it, but it was an absolutely gut wrenching, brought tears to my eyes.
Oh my gosh.
Detransitioner on another podcast, and it was a male that transitioned to a female, and his body is so completely permanently damaged
Oh
from
no.
surgeries and from taking too much estrogen because he's a male and his body is not built to handle that kind of stuff. I don't care how much you want to be that. And I loved how he explained it. He said, like, and he even goes by, he even though he still presents as a female because he's already gone so far, he can't go back. As bad as he wants to, he can't even go back to being a male now because
Mm.
he completely wrecked himself, and he's
Right.
young. He's only in his 20s,
Yeah.
I think.
The damage is severe
And
at that point. Right.
he
It's
chopped
irreversible.
himself off down there,
Oh.
and he did. And he said, his biggest takeaway from that, and the host was asking him, like, if you could, like, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from this? And he said, I mean, I don't know what your audience is, but he straight up said, I'll never be able to have sex again. that
Ugh.
that 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 has been taken away from me. He said, I'll never be able to orgasm. I will
Oh
never
my
be able to have
goodness.
sex. And he's young. He's very
Wow.
young. And it made me do it almost makes me want to cry thinking about that because I don't know, it's like yeah, orgasm, but that's such a huge part of being human.
I know. I know. It
And
is. It is.
he will never be able to experience that ever again in his entire life.
That's why is it this that's what's happening. This is evil. This is pure,
It
utter
is. It's
evil.
Yeah,
Pure
no,
evilness.
it is. Yeah, yeah, and the man's got all kind of health problems now because of the estrogen that he was being made to take. And he said he like, oh man, I gotta send you this link. Like when I tell you, it's good. Like I was tearing up listening to this guy talk, and he was pleading with people like, please stop pushing your kids. That let them just be like. If they're trying to figure themselves out, yeah, we all feel weird in our own bodies and stuff when you grow. It's part of
Exactly.
growing up. It's part
Part
of
of exactly.
yeah, of becoming going from a child to an adult. It's a weird
Yep.
transition.
I
It's
agree.
not fun.
I totally
It
agree.
sucks. Yeah, but to take that a person when they're in that vulnerable stage in life mentally,
Yep.
it's just what you said. It's evil to me.
It's
um
pure evil. I can't think of anything
yeah,
else. It's nothing.
it's
It's nothing good that can arise from this. That can come out of this
yeah,
situation at all. I mean, especially if they're allowing children to consent to consent. And I got the form here. I'm going to read the form. And guys, I have a consent form that they give children to look over and read. I promise you, a 13-year-old is not able to understand the language of these consent forms. I'm going to go over it, but before we do, I want to show you this video so you guys can hear it from this guy, the father, who was jailed for refusing to call his daughter boy. So check it out, guys, and you guys just let me know what you think. All right, Jess, I'm gonna play it right now. Here we go.
Yeah.
All our prison space for political offenders.
Oops. Oh, there goes that Obama internet.
So that's when I started thinking, okay, now we're going down a whole different road here. We're heading towards the transitioning.
Are you able to see anything?
I can't. I just see the little.
Yeah, me too. Give me 1 second. What in the Sam heck? Sheesh. I don't know why it's going super slow tonight. Let's see here.
I know why.
Why?
That's that devil boy. He's like,
I'm not
gonna get too religious, but I'm just saying, I don't know. When I see things like that, I just kind of wonder.
No, you're right. Hey,
all our prison space for political offenders.
This is weird. Why is this not playing? Come on, man. We got a show to run here. All right, here we go.
There you go.
And, I kind of embraced it in the sense that I thought this is harmless. If she wants.
Hold on, let me start it over. Okay.
But again, I kind of embraced it in the sense that I thought this is harmless. If she wants to, play in this quote unquote role, I don't mind that. She'll probably snap out of it like people used to do with goth and other things that, people got caught up in. That was kind of the social popular thing to do. And then my ex-wife comes to me and says that, we've got a psychologist.
Oh, come on.
Telling you, boy.
Come on, Frankie. Yeah, I know, right?
He's working overtime today.
What do you think you're doing trying to put that out there?
Y'all shut your mouth.
Right.
No critical thinking here.
I'm telling you. Good grief, man.
Who's going to be seeing your daughter, Dr. Wong. And I know nothing about this guy. She just tells me he's the top expert in all this area of transitioning or gender ideology or whatever you want to call it. And keep in mind, she's only 13 at the time. And I even explained, the crush on the male teacher. And he just took notes, and it's in the assessment. But again, I find out in court affidavits later that Dr. Wong was actually chosen by the school, and he's the guy he's their #1 transitioning psychologist that all these kids get referred to continue them along this path and to continue to be coached and led along. But again, like people have questioned, why did you let your daughter see Dr. Wong? Because I didn't know any of this stuff. I'm just trusting at this time still. At the end of the assessment, and my daughter's sitting there in the room, and he goes, well, your daughter is a prime candidate for cross-sex hormones. She meets all the criteria. And I'm just looking at him like, are you out of your mind? And he's explaining away like these crushes on teachers by saying, well, yeah, she's a boy, but she's a gay boy. Like, it's just the absolute lunacy that was coming out. And I'm just thinking, this is insane. So anyway, so the appointment ends up in the summer after grade 8. And at this point now she's 14. And I don't go because I'm working, but my ex-wife and my daughter go downtown to BC Children's Hospital, and they do the assessment. Partway through the assessment, about 2 hours in, my ex-wife gives me a call and says, Rob, guess what's going on here? I said, what? Well, they're about to start injecting her with cross-sex hormones right now, testosterone. And I said, absolutely no way. And so they didn't do it. And then I get the consent form dropped off at my house later that evening. My ex-wife drops it off. And I'm reading through it, and the stuff on there, like, you wouldn't do that to an animal. It's listing all these risk factors, right? Like increased heart disease, different types of cancers, sterilization was right there on the top of the list. which is the worst one of the bunch.
Jeez, I don't know.
My God.
My
It
internet's
doesn't
like,
matter. I heard enough. Like
okay. All right, let me take this down
it's
really quick.
literally
Okay.
making me angry for this man. Like, I can't.
Yeah, I know it's horrendous, huh?
You want to pump this girl who probably, and please excuse my French, who probably just started having her period, and
Yep.
you're gonna be pumping her full of testosterone,
Right.
which he's right. It can cause. Oh my God, I can't. Like,
Yeah, exactly. There's no longitudinal studies on this stuff. So
no.
I mean, this this is being implemented for the first time in recorded history, and they don't even know what the lasting effects of this is going to be and what it's going to. I mean, a whole generation of children.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, and I'll have to find the resource for you because I don't remember exactly where it was that I saw it, but there's already a university that has produced a study showing brain swelling in kids from giving them their opposite, like giving males estrogen and giving females testosterone.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's literally causing brain swelling in a lot of these kids. And I mean, like it's gonna see the big problem I think with this is really gonna show itself here probably in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
When these kids start growing up and they start realizing how bad they messed up, allowing a bunch of idiot adults talking them into mutilating their bodies and screwing themselves up to the point where they're not going to be able to reproduce, and they're, you know what I mean, like, and it's
Yep. No, I totally understand.
not to get off on a conspiracy tangent, but I really kind of wonder if this has a lot to do with, it sounds crazy, but I really wonder if there's a quiet agenda of this kind of being slipped into depopulation, because you're going to have a whole generation of kids that are going to be infertile.
Oh yeah.
Or many of them.
Depopulation. I never even looked at it from that angle.
Oh,
I mean, but it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Because if you look at everything that's happening all together at once with, I mean, not with just the kids, but with like all the crazy abortion stuff that's going on. And like, I don't want to ruffle any feathers because I know people get really sensitive about that topic. I mean, I personally believe that all life is sentient, and I don't believe in.
Hey, I believe life begins at conception. That's just my belief. That's that.
I do too, and I think it's ridiculous that we can call single-celled life, single-cell bacteria on Mars life, but we disregard a fetus.
No, it's so crazy, right?
Like, it doesn't make sense, right? It's stupid.
It doesn't.
They're like, we found bacteria on Mars. That's life. We found.
It's all a contradiction, exactly.
Right, but you'll suck a fetus out of a woman's body and throw it in the trash like it's nothing. It's disgusting.
So here's that. So this is the Infants Act. I don't know if you can read it, but I'm just gonna read it. What it says. This is the consent of an infant. Well, I don't think it's. I think it's. I think it's an infant. I think it applies to teenagers, but for consent for medical treatment. So healthcare. Yeah. So in this section, healthcare means anything that is done for a therapeutic, preventative, palliative, diagnostic, cosmetic, or health-related purpose, and includes a course of healthcare. Healthcare provider includes a person licensed, certified, or registered in British Columbia to provide healthcare. Subject to this subsection, an infant may consent to healthcare whether or not that healthcare would, in the absence of consent, constitute a trespass of the infant's person, and if an infant provides that consent, the consent is effective, and it is not necessary to obtain a consent to the health care from the infant's parent or guardian. There it is.
Okay.
There it is. It is.
Okay, there's a reason why minors cannot legally sign contracts and things like that. Like, there's reasons for all this. So you mean to tell me a 3-year-old can read that paper and understand it and say, "Yep, I want to go ahead and proceed on with changing my entire,"
making
like,
a permanent decision, right?
so what I thought was going to happen is exactly what is happening. Is there is no line to be drawn with this issue. There, Magic, shut up. There's I don't know. It's like, how did we get here?
Well, gradually,
Like,
gradually. Like I was telling people in the chat here, I was telling them, like, you and I, we talked about these things like what, 10 years ago?
dude, over 10
I mean,
years ago. Yeah, and
over
people
10
thought we were
years
nuts.
ago.
Like, yeah, you were one of the few people I was able to have these conversations with, because anybody else
Exactly.
that I would try to
Because
talk
we
to was
saw it
straight
on the
up,
horizon.
yeah,
We saw it.
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was gonna happen this quickly, because I feel like it went from
It
gradual
accelerated.
to all of a sudden it just bam, like it was,
Bam. Yep.
yeah, like
Just
it literally went,
accelerated.
it did. And I don't know, like I just don't see, I feel like, in a messed up way, like I feel like the battle is already lost if we're at this point where the lawmakers of this country, or I mean, I know this is Canada, but I mean, whatever is going to happen there is going to, let's just be real, like it's going to trickle down, and it already has started.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're already at this point where governments are jumping on board with this, like the parents don't stand a chance, like just straight up don't stand a chance in the long run.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to remove the power from the parents and give it to the children to
And
make their own medical decisions. And you know,
yeah,
like we
like,
said, a child kid, they don't know what they're signing to or consenting to.
no, they don't. And
Kidding
like,
me?
kind of, the thing that I was talking to you about earlier, the lady in Chicago that got her daughter taken away from her just recently because of the same thing, like what this
Yeah,
gentleman was
yeah.
talking about.
Yep. And I want to
And
go over that too with
yeah,
everyone.
but she made a point in an interview that I saw with her, and I was like, dang, that's a really good way to put it. She said, "My child was taken away from me because I wouldn't affirm to her that something was wrong with her, that she was born the wrong way."
Yeah. You heard that,
And I
ladies and
was
gentlemen.
like,
This is happening
yeah,
in Chicago. This is on
Chicago. Yeah,
United States soil, where
yeah,
they're starting to listen. They're starting to leverage the government. The government is gonna come, and if your child identifies as a non-binary, whatever, it doesn't identify to which the gender they were born, and they decide to change their gender, they have the full force of the government and the medical community affirming it, and there's nothing you
yeah.
can do about it.
No, no.
Nothing.
They're gonna start calling it child abuse. Is
Right.
what, and
Oh
that's
my
how
God.
they're.
Yes.
I believe that was the premise of how she got the girl taken away from her, because she
Child
said,
abuse.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
child abuse. And I mean, and the mother, like, has never. And what's crazy, and the cherry on the top of this whole thing with her, is that this woman she's a an outspoken feminist. She said, I've voted Democrat my entire life. I'm a feminist, like.
Exactly.
And
Even
she
the
was
left.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and she probably feels like her own community is turning on her with this, because
Exactly.
and the crazy thing is, like, she said she knows that it's something was indoctrinating her daughter, because all the way up until recently, she said, my daughter was very feminine, like she was very girly, very. And then, I mean, she said it was like out of the blue, all of a sudden she comes up with this idea that she wants to be a boy. And she was like, it just didn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the thing that happened was, I guess she went to her father's for a weekend. Dad didn't bring her back when he was supposed to, per the
Yep.
custody order, which is legally kidnapping.
Yeah.
It is.
I think,
No,
yeah. So
it is.
yeah, it was the dad and stepmom, right? That
Yeah,
were pretty much.
and yep, and he was basically saying, like, no, I'm not giving her back because
Yep.
mom won't affirm that she's a boy now.
There you go. Yep.
Unbelievable.
So
And
let me real quick, Jess. I
yeah,
just want to read this this informed consent form
okay.
testosterone therapy for gender dysphoria. And they expect teenagers to read this to fully comprehend what they're reading. I'm receiving treatment for gender dysphoria. The cause of gender dysphoria is not known.
Because it doesn't exist.
Exactly. But it is
Sorry,
but it is thought to be partly due to genetic or environmental causes affecting the early development of my brain pathways. I understand that the effect on me means that even though I think of myself partially or completely as male, I am genetically, biologically, and physically female, which is irrelevant. Basically, I mean, biology just doesn't matter to these folks. I want to receive treatment that will help me change my body towards that of a male, so that it will match my sense of self, my gender identity. And hey, Jess, you may have heard of this this drug that they're giving these kids. With the understanding and consent of my parents and guardians, okay, I may have been taking a medicine called Lupron. Yeah, I know, right? To stop me from to stop me from growing through puberty as a female. Regardless, my treatment always involves taking psychotherapy, to help me think about all the possible results and consequences of going part or all through the physical change called transition from female towards male body. All right, Jess, go ahead. Educate us. What do you know about this drug, if you know anything about it?
I have a personal connection to that drug because I was on it when I was younger.
Okay.
I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I know people don't really know too much about what that is, but in a nutshell, I have a hormone imbalance that causes little cysts to grow in my ovaries, and it is because I produce a little bit too much testosterone than what I should for a female. And they gave me that drug because it has the opposite effect. So I was overproducing testosterone, and it brought that down for me. Because I was having a lot of issues with I wasn't menstruating properly. I even started to grow like some hair on my face in places I shouldn't have had it. It was like really hard to deal with when I was a kid, because I got made fun of a lot by a lot of people with it. It was very difficult to deal with as a teenager. So I was put on that drug like early adulthood, and it did work. Like when I was taking it, it did reduce the facial hair, and it did like it helped some things, but it is not a drug you're supposed to be on long term. Like it's just not good for you to be on. I eventually took myself off of it because I was like, you know what, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I just kind of had a come to Jesus moment. I was like, you know what, if this is the way I am, I'm just gonna deal with it. Like I'm not gonna take a drug to fix something that could hurt me later, you know. So but now I'm hearing.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Because you may answer my question.
Nobody told me though that drug can chemically castrate you.
There you go.
It can make you it can make you infertile, and I've had infertility problems my entire life. And I almost wonder if it was because I was on that drug for so long. Because PCOS, it doesn't make you infertile. It makes it a little harder for you to have kids, but it doesn't mean that you can't. I don't know, when I first started hearing about that, and I was like, wow, there was nobody ever told me that when they put me on that. I was never informed of that. So I feel like I was put on a drug, and I wasn't given the right information to make an informed decision on if I wanted to risk my ability of ever having children.
Jess. Wow, that's terrible.
So you're putting these kids on a drug that has even been used to chemically castrate pedophiles that have raped children. Excuse me, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that word, but that have done these things to minor. You know what I mean? It is literally used. It has been used for that. I mean, I don't disagree with these people not producing.
So are they, so if it had if it had that effect on you as an adult, how do you think it'd have on what effect you think it has on like a small, younger children, teenagers?
Oh, knowing what I know now, I would never put any child on that.
Oh
Like,
man.
I don't care if they consent to it or not. They don't know. You don't know. You know what? My whole life, I always said, I never want kids. I never want kids. I never want kids. I don't know what happened in my 30s. I was like, I want a baby. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, things change.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I went from never wanting to have a kid to being like, oh my God, I want a little baby. You know what I mean? So you
Right.
don't, it's, I don't know. Like, it's just not, you're taking away that, I feel like it's playing God. Like, let's just be real.
Absolutely.
Like,
There it
I
is.
feel like it's playing God, and it's playing God, and there's going to be consequences for that, even if we're not seeing it right now. But I guarantee you there will be at some point.
I totally agree. And guys, like I said earlier, here's that. Oops. I just want to show everyone the executive order here that Biden signed. That's pretty much enshrining this in law. And they have this huge initiative to really sort of push this agenda. And if we don't say or do anything about this, alert the local school boards, alert your congressman. If we don't sound the alarm on this, your senators, we don't sound the alarm on this, it's just the problem is going to be, people are going to be, it's going to be normalized. It's going to be, oh yeah, I'm feeling like this way. Oh yeah, my daughter's my daughter or my daughter's a transgender, this, that, and the third. And it's a gradual process. It's grooming.
Yeah. And then like the whole argument of some of these kids and not even kids, like adults too, just trying to defend the idea that, well, I don't feel like I don't feel like a boy, I feel like a girl. Okay, so what does that feel like? You tell me.
What does that feel like exactly?
You tell me what that feels like. You can't. Nobody can. Because it's literal.
It's more than a feeling, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's not as much of a, okay, I'm a really good example for this. I just disclosed to you a medical condition that I have that makes me produce testosterone a little bit more than I should.
Yeah.
I still couldn't tell you what the hell it feels like to be a man or be a boy. I have no effing idea. I couldn't even tell you.
Hey, look, I couldn't tell you what it's like to be a woman.
Right, because we are supposed to be different. Like,
yep. That's how God made it.
It's nature's natural balance. Like,
yep. When you go screwing with that balance.
And just like I don't personally, I'm sorry, but I don't personally believe homosexuality is an orientation. I don't believe it. I believe it's a choice. It's not an orientation. It's not involuntary.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. If it was an, okay. Ooh, I'm about to touch some ground with this one.
Let it out.
If we start saying that, if we start calling that an orientation, and everybody is accepting of that, and that's fine. If you're a guy that likes guys, cool. If you're a girl, that's your choice. As an adult, that should be
as an adult. Totally fine with that.
To each his own. However, when you start using words like orientation, well then what about, if that's okay, what about someone that says, well, I orient towards being a pedophile. I orient towards,
it's a slippery slope, right? It's a slippery slope.
Exactly.
Yep.
So where do you draw the line? Because you can't pick and choose.
Yep.
In my opinion, you either all in or you're all out. So.
Yep. Oh, Jess, you're on fire. Yes.
I don't know, totally. My brain is like racing right now. I have so much like on my like. Yeah,
oh no worries, Jess. Yeah, guys, you guys like Jess, put a 1 in the chat if you wanted to come back. Put a 1 in the chat. She's giving us some really substantive information here.
And like, I'm not trying to ruffle anybody's feathers or anything like that. It's just like, I'm speaking from a practical point of view.
Yep.
And like, again, like, we're all adults. We can decide what we want to be. We can choose what we want to be. Hell, if you want to affirm the opposite gender, well, then that's on you. But that is exactly what you're doing. It's almost like not affirming. I'm sorry, that was the wrong word. I meant to use appropriating.
Appropriating. Yep.
You're appropriating the opposite sex. You're not the opposite sex.
Yep.
No matter how much you say you are, all you're doing is appropriating it. I can go put on another culture's regalia and claim that I identify as that, but at the end of the day, I'm not that. I'm
Exactly.
appropriating that culture. So let's just call it for what it is. It's not. It has nothing to do with being transgender. You're appropriating the opposite gender
Oh man,
of which you were born.
you're right. Here's part. I'm not going to read the entire executive order here, but this is, and you guys can go check this out and read it for yourself at
Oh, I heard about
whitehouse.gov.
this. Yeah.
Whitehouse.gov. So in this section here, his administration, they plan to seek funding opportunities related to health, including mental health, for LGBTQYXWY ampersand
Ampersand. I knew you were going to say ampersand.
individuals, especially youth, including resources for the nation's suicide prevention and crisis support services to support LGBTQ plus whatever individuals. Also, promote expanded access to comprehensive health care for LGBTQIA individuals, including by working with states on expanding access to gender affirming care. That's it. We're all wrapped up in a nutshell. You see how they try to just they're like linguistic masters, the way they kind of use their language not to really specify what they're talking about. It's all under the guise of gender affirming care, health care services, when it's actually, mutilation.
Yeah. What did they say? To beware when the government said, when somebody says I'm from the government and I'm here to help. No. I think we know that's not true. There's an agenda behind that. Like, there is always an agenda behind things like that.
Christina said affirming care, aka castration.
She's right. Like, that is exactly what it is. And like, it makes me, it really bothers me that there's so many parents out there that are so willing to allow their kids to just get chopped up or permanently damaged because of hormones that they shouldn't be taking. And like I just can't imagine. Like, I don't comprehend it. Like, you not protecting your child from that,
And I think, in this father, I think, in this example with this father, he literally did everything that he could possibly do. I mean, so far as he went even so far to getting thrown in jail to try to protect his daughter.
In jail, like
jail,
not like you got slapped with a fine or you
these
got,
aren't your kids.
A warning. Oh my God!
I want to see if we can. I want to see if this can play, because this really touched me. Let me see. Okay, cool. Here we go. All right, guys, watch this really quickly.
My daughter's name is Sophia. She's amazing. On July 22nd, 2019, she went to her dad's house for a regular custodial visit, and she never came back. I later found out that she had told her stepmom and her dad that she was trans and she didn't want to live with me anymore. She felt unsafe. I missed my daughter's 13th birthday, her 14th birthday, and her 15th birthday. She will be 16 in August. People who are imprisoned have more communication with their child than I do. It's been 2.5 years. I can't believe I'm alive. It's a miracle.
This is so sad.
Yeah, it is. When 12-year-old Sophia announced that she identified as transgender, her father requested that the court restrict access to her mother, who previously had custody 6 days, 7 nights a week.
Did you do the backstory on him? Because he wasn't fit to have her any more time than that.
Wow.
There's a story behind him. So, So yeah, I don't want to say too much because I don't remember enough of the story about him, and I don't want to say
Right.
something on here that's wrong. But I do specifically remember there being some information about that man. Like there was a reason why she wasn't allowed to live with him.
Wow. And now she's
And
deemed
yeah,
unfit because she won't
yeah,
affirm the child's
yeah.
transgender.
Like let's forget that she's provided for the child. She's kept the child safe. The child is healthy. She's
Wow.
good.
So she was the
That's what.
custodial parent,
Yeah, yeah,
essentially, right?
yep, yep.
Wow.
Mhm. This is the Chicago lady, right? I believe it is. Is it?
It is, guys.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is in Chicago. This is, like I
Mhm.
said, it's happening already here.
Yeah. Insane. Like this should scare the hell out of everyone.
It should. Okay. In court documents, Jeanette's ex-husband alleged their daughter was, quote, no longer mentally or emotionally safe in Jeanette's custody.
According to who? The child's opinion?
Oh my gosh.
The child's
Goodness.
opinion, right? Like, and then there was no evidence brought to as to what made that environment unsafe. There was no evidence that said that woman was putting that child in harm's way. There was nothing.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. What are these judges doing? Are they
So
just like,
that's what like who's buying these people off?
pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, it's got to be something to that. There's some kind of incentive. I don't know if they're being incentivized to rule in a certain way. I'm sorry, it's possible, and I'm sure it happens all the time. Like there's movies about drug dealers getting judges paid off to get out of sentences. So this isn't at all impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just saying.
Let me see if I can play a little bit more, guys.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Usually, Child Protective Services has a definition of what it means to be unsafe, to either be abused or neglected. There was no evidence that I had done anything like that.
You're right, Jess.
When they temporarily kept her with her dad for a period, I was fine with that. I thought that's what they should do. That's the responsibility of the court to investigate if a child is saying that they feel unsafe. So they did a 7-month investigation. I had psychological testing, so did my ex-husband, hours and hours of interviews. We each had home visits, and they did interviews with other people who had observed my daughter and me together. After that report came out, I thought, surely this is going to resolve itself. Clearly, there is no finding of abuse or neglect. They didn't find anything about me that is unsafe.
Thank you, Barbara.
But the thing that I clearly am not complying with is this concept that good parenting means that you affirm a child's idea that there is something wrong with them. I'm not willing to do that. They want me to have a certain understanding that there is such a thing as a child who is born transgender and this is who they are. I don't believe that. My child is a girl.
So Christina says Child Protective Services has been proven to traffic children. Arizona had a real problem with this. It is I think she said
it's incentivized.
Incentivized.
Yeah,
yep.
She knows what she's talking about. Yeah, that's a real thing. Like I can confirm that. That's absolutely true here in Arizona.
Yeah, you're out there. I mean, you've heard this before.
Oh yeah,
out there.
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Christina. I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, that is CPS is that's another evil organization right there, man. Like they take kids that are in perfectly healthy environments, and they put them in these horrible abusive situations, put them on drugs, put them on all this stuff. And then they have the opposite end of kids that are with abusive parents, or they're being molested and all this other crazy stuff with evidence, and they leave them there.
Jeez.
Like I've seen cases of this happening. I'm like, everybody knows that story about that kid, Gabriel, what was his name? Gabriel something. His mom, this boy was going to school, beat the hell up all the time. And the teacher was the one that went to CPS and was like, you need to investigate this. Something is wrong with this child. Like, he's coming in here. CPS didn't do shit. They went over to the house. They saw the conditions of the home, didn't do anything. And guess what? They abused that boy until he literally died. They killed him.
Oh my goodness.
He was young. He was in like, oh man, I don't want to say he was like kindergarten age, but he was extremely young. There was a whole little mini series on Netflix about it a couple of years ago. And dude, I had a hard time watching it. Like I cried almost through the whole thing when I saw how badly they were making this little boy sleep in kitchen cabinets. He wasn't even allowed to sleep in a bed. He wasn't allowed to eat. They weren't feeding him. I mean, it was horrid abuse.
What the heck were they investigating? So they weren't. Were they just showing up to?
Yeah, like it's been a long time since I know the whole story, but all I know is that there were multiple, like they were sent there multiple times and never took that boy out of that environment.
Okay.
And he did end up dying, and the mom and her boyfriend were both abusing this child, and they both ended up incarcerated, I believe. And I mean, all I know for sure, the mom, the female inmates took care of her when she got there.
Wow.
They did some, they from what I remember, they scalded her with a whole pot of hot coffee, and beat the shit out of her in the, like they almost killed her.
Terry's,
Gabriel Hernandez. Yes.
Gabriel
Hernandez.
Okay.
Yes, that's him. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
I'm not have a box of tissues. It's bad.
Wow. Okay.
It's really bad. Like,
wow.
How
you know what? I vaguely actually remember hearing about this. Actually, I actually do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so bad, dude. It's so bad. And this child was like, oh man, when I saw him and like how precious this child was, I was like, it almost makes me want to cry. Like I don't understand that.
Yeah, I understand you. I know.
That's
but you know,
really...
this is why that's what I said. This is so important. Why we are sounding the alarm. We will not cease. We will not remain silent on this issue.
No,
because children are helpless. Children are vulnerable. Okay, and they need good, strong people who's going to stand up and defend them, because God knows there is a malicious, pernicious, nefarious regime that wants to completely hijack their innocence.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I think a lot of that.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all I had to say. I mean, pretty much.
Like, let's just be real. Like on a spiritual level, like children are the closest to God.
Yeah.
More so than adults. And when those children can be hurt and corrupted, and some of these people, like on the spiritual side, like demonic entities, all them, they know that that is the ultimate pain that they can inflict on God, is to hurt these babies.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
They really are. They are closer to God. When they're this young and they have that innocence, they are closer to God than we are. Let's just be real.
Yes, they are. But we're gonna protect them. We're gonna listen. Like I said.
Oh yeah, I'll die doing it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
hey,
I don't.
You guys heard it. I'm telling everybody in the chat. Listen, we need to build an army. That's what we have to do. We have to build an army. It's our responsibility. We have a moral obligation to protect these children.
Yeah.
Because evil is coming from all sides. Jess, final thoughts. Thank you for coming. I'm so happy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, this is great. I mean, like you and I were going to talk on the back end, but we got to do more of this. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the people want to know. I mean, I asked them, I said, hey, you guys want Jess back? They all put ones in the chat. So I should have put them on the screen here for you. But yeah, I think we did pretty good, man. Oops. Uh-oh, look at you. You're all sideways. There you go. There you go. There you go. But I can't hear you. You talking? I think you might have. Oh, there you go. Hello. Yeah, I think I don't know. Something happened with your audio. It went down. All right, cool. But guys, I know this was a pretty heavy discussion, but look, like I said, we have to talk about this. We have to sound the alarm. and we have to do something. We have to do something now. And if you know, putting this on the airwaves is gonna potentially lead to, you know, me being censored or whatever the case, so be it. I don't care. You know, I just don't care. But guys, thank you all tonight. We actually ran a whole hour tonight, but thank you guys so much. Jess, I will talk to you. Actually, I'll call you after this here. You guys have a great night. As always, we are speaking truth and reality, and I promise you, we will reinstitute morality.
And you ain't black.